Welcome back to the channel, Collective Off-Road. Today's topic of discussion is going to be putting an epoxy covering on a concrete floor in your garage. Because if you're anything like me or anybody else that I know, you probably do quite a bit of wrenching on your vehicle in your garage. And if you didn't lay one down ahead of time, you probably have lots of oil spots, paint spots, grease spots, dirt spots, you name it, whatever kind of spot, maybe even a couple four-legged ones running around on your concrete floor. I don't like that. Also, it helps decrease from the resale value of your house. Putting down a nice concrete or epoxy floor covering will go through and increase your retail value, prevents oils and greases from soaking into the concrete, and it also goes through and just plain looks nice. So step one, as I've already done today, is going to be moving everything. I moved it all to one side over there. So that stuff's going to be going in my daughter's room tomorrow, so we're good on that. After you move everything off to one side, the next thing I like to do is sweep and mop it. And then I go through with muriatic acid and go over the entire concrete floor. The last couple that I've done this way have turned out great, and I had no problems with it. I've worked on it for years, welding, grinding, plasma cutting, doing donuts on my motorcycle in the garage. You name it, I did it. And it all stood up very well. A little bit of 220 grit sandpaper. All right, I've gone over everything. I've mopped it all pretty liberally. As you can see, there's still standing water around, and it was a mix of water and degreaser. Now I'm just gonna dry mop everything to get all the water up, aid in drying time, and to help pick up any little particles that are left over. For those that don't think you really need to prep concrete, you do. This is why I go through and use a degreaser. You can see how black some of that dirt or some of that water is coming out. And that's just after one little section. All right, so that's what it looks like so far, and that's after going through and dry mopping it. It is 2 o'clock in the morning. Thankfully, I work nights, but I'm going to call it a day on this. I've got to get my kids to school in about 5 hours, and I got to do homework. And then Wednesday, I go back to work. Fun, the life of a nurse. All right, so the next important thing that I like to do is go through and mask off the area that I'm going to go through and be etching and painting. I don't know how well you can see, but that right there is actually below the blue tape is actually still concrete. They just painted it white. I like to have everything looking uniform. Call it my, leftover from my days in the military. So I will go through and be painting that as well. Next up, etching. So this is the etching. I usually use muriatic acid. This is the etching material or etching ingredients that they give us. And it's just given in the kit. I'm going to be using, for this, I'm going to be using the Rock Solid Garage Floor Coating Kit that you can get from Ace. Not because it's anything special, but because it's just a complete kit that you can get really quick. There's no advertisement or anything on it. This is just what I happened to pick up today. Alright, so for this, we're just going to start off, just kind of pour it down on wherever and start mopping it across and let the etching do its job. So if you kind of notice out over here how the water is starting to soak in the concrete versus over here, it's still got a little ways to go. That's how you know when the etching is working. As you can see, this area here is starting to darken up, so the etching is working over here. And the trick is just to keep everything nice and moist. And allow the etching to do its job. Give it about 20 minutes or so. When the concrete has a nice rough feeling to it versus smooth, then you're good to go. You can rinse it all out, wash the garage out twice. As you can see, we're washing everything out. I like to start in the corner away from all my stuff and work my way across. So now you may be asking why I'm going back and scrubbing. I'm the original homeowner of this house, and so I know I've never put down a coating on here, but I'm getting this white stuff up like this that makes me think they may have put one on when I bought the house or before I moved in. But that would not be something that was in that I was ever told happened. All right, so it's been a few days since I've been in here to go through and clean this up last. But as you can see, it's all etched now compared to the other side. I've enlisted the help of the U.S. military over here to help clean everything up and do a last-minute sweep. And then we're going to go through and actually lay down the epoxy. All right, so this thing says mix in 8 ounces per gallon of epoxy. That's the epoxy. It's not quite a gallon. There's 8 ounces, but I'm just going to pour the whole thing in there because this thing's almost empty now. I'm going to stir it all up. Oop, there we go with that. As the directions say, roll A to B. It smells yummy.
Well, like paint?
Worse. Where's the big foam roller at?
There's one right there with it.
No, there's a black foam roller. Oh, there it is right there. This is what I'm looking for. Alright. Now, get the roller up. Let's see, go back over here. Do me a favor. Take the red broom, and towards the end there's a bunch of dust in that channel. Will you get all that out?
Yep.
Sweep it towards the garage door.
Good job.
happening? Different thread pattern, maybe?
Sad face.
Now, supposedly this is enough to do a full one-car garage. Supposedly maybe not.
I mean, you do still have half a bucket left.
Yeah, but when you're in the middle like this is where you need the most amount of shellac. And this is where you want it to be the thickest.
That stuff is freaking potent.
Uh-huh. Oh, great, doesn't it?
Oh, lovely. It's almost like that day that you accidentally bought lead paint. And I was painting my room and came upstairs. And neither of us realized it. Very interesting evening.
Don't be surprised if I make a comment about that on the video.
Go ahead. You can keep that part in there.
No, I'll put it down the right. I'll like do a little pop-up. Cody, remember that time I used lead paint in the house?
With no respirator? You felt bad took me out to ice cream, I think it was.
And when all is said and done, that's what you have. Now I just gotta let this dry overnight and it'll be good.